Champions League is back! Who's excited? Stefano was playing the Champions League anthem before we went on air.
Rightly so. He texted me that at 6 a.m. this morning.
Oh, yeah.
That's how you know. In the mood.
That's how you know I'm excited. I mean, come on, it's the Champions League. It's back, and it's going to be a great day here at Golazo Network.
What a better way to talk about the Champions League than with some tiers? So, Lahoud, I believe you've got some tiers for us about newly transferred players, how they're going to be doing in the Champions League this season.
Yeah, I'd like to coin this the summer transfer window difference makers when we look at tiers. And the different categories are as such: not yet ready, which there's a name on there that I'm going to put on there that's going to probably throw a wrinkle, too big of a jump, and of course, one that I love, potential breakout star, and at the very top, impact player. And so when we look at it, instant impact, if you will, when we look at it, I go with not yet ready. One player I'm going to put on there, Marcus Rashford. I just don't think he's yet ready to be that guy for Barcelona. Yes, he's coming off getting an assist in La Liga against a Valencia side that I think all of us could have gotten an assist the way Barcelona were playing. That's no disrespect to Marcus Rashford, but the game was just that easy for Barcelona. I just don't think that the quality is there. His confidence isn't fully there. But if there's one manager that can get it done, Hansi Flick is the guy. The name that I'm going to throw out there, Trent Alexander-Arnold, I don't think he's ready to be the full-time #1 choice, first choice for Xabi Alonso's Real Madrid. Defending 1v1. There's a game, I think 2 matches ago, that he showed better progress in getting back, hit a goal line clearance. But going up against some of the biggest teams, you think of a Liverpool, you think of Mohamed Salah going up against a player like Trent Alexander-Arnold or Florian Wirtz playing on that side, drifting over to the wings. I just don't think that Trent is ready for the pressure and the weight of the jersey of Real Madrid just yet. Going forward, he's got the pedigree, but defensively, there's still question marks.
I want to jump in real quick on Rashford. I would probably quibble with the wording, but I agree with the tier. I just don't think that this is going to be a signing that has a huge impact in the Champions League. And maybe in the best case scenario, it's you don't rely on him and whatever you get from him is bonus because there's so many excellent attacking players in this Barcelona team. I just don't think that he moves the needle for them. And I think that when it comes to how far they advance and if they win this competition, it won't be much about Marcus Rashford. It'll be more about the other players in their attack and their defense.
Yeah, their attack is historic. We saw it last season, right? I mean, nobody scored more goals than Barcelona last year. But I do think that Rashford will do a job. He's not there to be a starter. He's there to be a rotation player, a rotation piece. He'll get some minutes in the Champions League when necessary. I just don't think you said. I do like where you put him just because I don't think he's going to have that much of an impact. As far as Trent's concerned, I think it's an interesting one because we talked about the Trent Alexander move so much this summer. Going to Real Madrid, his dream move. But because of the price that they paid, which is not much because it was a free transfer with some extra millions on the end to get him early for the Club World Cup, they don't have a lot of pressure to start him in every single game. And he's not winning that job either because Danny Carvajal's still there and still doing his job. So it's an interesting one for him.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, I look at the biggest match. He's rumored to be starting against Marseille. So we'll see how he does. Marseille, they should get the result. They should get all 3 points. And like I said, going forward, his ability to send balls into a high-flying Kylian Mbappe is one to watch. But against the big guns, I want to see how he does in transition because that's been where Real Madrid have gotten better. Fede Valverde will win Ballon d'Or if Trent Alexander-Arnold has the season that I think Xabi Alonso and Madrid fans hope he has. The next category that I want to get to is too big a jump. So I thought of this as players who delivered in the Champions League last season for previous clubs, but I doubt whether they can replicate that this season. So I'm thinking of a player, first and foremost, like a Malik Tillman. What he did for Peter Bosz's PSV side, I want to give that credit because I thought he was one of their best players. I thought he was their best player last season. But with a Leverkusen side that's struggling right now, that there's a new manager at the helm. I know he scored a goal. I just think that this season comes too soon for him to have the same impact and the chaos surrounding him. Another player that's on the list, Florian Wirtz. And I know that 2 players are 2 people who know Liverpool very well. I'm a big Florian Wirtz advocate. He's a generational talent. He's world-class with what he's done previously to Liverpool. But I'm losing faith in his ability to impact the game when Liverpool need it most. He's grown into games later on, but I'm losing faith. And I'm open to you guys bringing me back in the fold and making me a believer, but I have this as too big of a jump this season. And the last one is a player that I'm really high on, Jonathan David. Yeah. Jonathan David. I've come here. I've battled people down to the wire on debating Jonathan David's quality. Last season, was outstanding for Lille. But does Jonathan David even start for Juventus in the Champions League? Lois Openda, if Jonathan David isn't ready to score goals, he'll step up. Dusan Vlahovic, in the biggest game of the season so far, he's come in and started, didn't really impress. And yes, you can say Jonathan David did get an assist in the game-winning goal, but overall his performance hasn't really wowed me early on this season.
Interesting. Let's go with Florian Wirtz first.
Steph and I were looking at each other like, all right, who wants to go? To you or me?
Yeah. It's interesting. I think Florian Wirtz will have more success in the Champions League, at least in the early league phase, than he's having in the Premier League. I do think that he's not finding the spaces that he used to have in the Bundesliga when playing Premier League matches. He's not being able to get into the attacking spaces that he had. So much space to be creative in the Bundesliga. That space does not exist in the Premier League. There's too much physicality, too much speed. In the Champions League, I do feel like he can have a little bit more success. He will get some of those spaces. It's not the same high-intensity football that you see in the Premier League week in, week out. So we'll have to see with that one. He hasn't gotten off to a good start. I can't deny that. There's no question about it. I think that we expected a little bit more of an instant impact for him in Liverpool. Jonathan David, real quick. I've been defending him so much for a long time. I still think he's going to play a big role for Juventus, maybe playing as more of a false nine, not really expecting to score a ton of goals, but help set up Yildiz, help set up a couple other players, Conceição, on that team. It'll be interesting to watch, but I'm rooting for Jonathan David. I really am.
On Wirtz, Steph, I think you hit it really strong. You're right. He hasn't gotten off to the best start. We're 4 games in, man.
Right.
And look at the game states of those games. Most of those teams that Liverpool have played have been sitting deep. The team itself is still working out a couple kinks and getting a little bit of the rust off they're still getting the results, but they're not playing particularly great underlying. And yes, part of that is on Wirtz and Stefano, like you said. I think that he'll find more joy in the early phase in the Champions League, but in October of last season, was anybody talking about Ousmane Dembele for Ballon d'Or? Was anybody talking about him being the leading man for PSG to win that tournament? No, it is so very early. I think Florian Wirtz, sooner rather than later, is going to be a big part and a big contributor with goals and assists for this Liverpool team. So I think this is a little bit premature to keep him in this tier.
So going from your comparison to Florian Wirtz to Ousmane Dembele, if Florian Wirtz wins the Ballon d'Or, hey, you need to be his agent, man.
Crystal ball.
Well, I want to go to something that I hope we can all agree on. This is potential breakout stars, and I'm going to give Arsenal some love in Eberechi. Yeah. Eberechi, he's a star in the Premier League. Arsenal knocked it out of the park, and I know Tottenham fans, you're still feeling a little salty, less salty about it now that you got Xavi Simons. But this is a player in Eze that was made for the Champions League. He's going to be ready to hit the big time. And what I saw in the assist to Viktor Gyökeres, a good Viktor Gyökeres will be praising the fact that he gets to play with Eze. And from a Chelsea perspective, we got to talk about Chelsea, man. I know we don't do Chelsea enough justice at the start of this season. They're quietly working. And I thought I was going to go João Pedro, but I'm going to go Estevao. Estevao is quality. He's got that 1v1 ability. He's a YouTube highlight reel, and he's going to show that sense of quality in Europe's biggest stage, man.
Lahoud, I love the Eze shout. I'm all for Eze, even though I'm not an Arsenal fan. I think he's great. Do you not think maybe, though, his lack of experience playing in major competitions like the Champions League could go not in his favour?
I think the thing I like about Eze is that he's got a versatility about him. And as you get further on in the Champions League, he's got that one ability that Arsenal have lacked in the last couple seasons. His ability to pick up the ball and drive at defenders. He's also got clever movement. I think he's got some of the best movement, one of the most underrated players in terms of movement in the Premier League. I think we're going to see that. And if I'm Viktor Gyökeres, I'm like, thank you, God, this guy is here, because he's the type of player that will make everyone at Arsenal much better, and he takes the responsibility and pressure that Bukayo Saka, who's injured right now, will feel. And then so the last category I'm going to get to is instant impact. And yes, I went after Florian Wirtz, but I'm going to praise Alexander Isak. You pay the big money to get the big player, and Erling Haaland coming off the performance, Alexander Isak will show in the Champions League, unlike he did the first time out with Newcastle, that he will be, and he still is, the best striker in the Premier League. He's a complete striker. And I want to give some love to Lucho Diaz for Bayern Munich. He's been outstanding at the start of the season. And, of course, Viktor Gyökeres, like I said, given Arsenal's easy schedule, he will be an instant impact in the Champions League.
I'll let Stefano have Isak. I'll go with Gyökeres. I think that's just an absolute world-class signing. That is a serious signing. That is a team showing we want to win trophies. Let's just go get an in-prime, excellent center forward. I can't say enough good things about it. The fit and the addition of that player to Arsenal, I think that's going to be excellent. And he could have a really big impact on where Arsenal finishes in this Champions League campaign.
And he'll be even better when they do have Odegaard and Saka in that lineup as well, alongside Eze and Gyökeres. Isak. Yeah, I expect him to have a big impact. I think he's been wanting this move. It might take a little bit of time, but I do think that he will play a big part. He's going to be involved in this game against Atletico Madrid. Arne Slot already confirmed. And yeah, you pay that kind of money, you expect a 25, 30-goal season, and that's what he's going to want to give to Liverpool. Really, it's what he's going to have to give to Liverpool if they're going to have success in the Champions League.
Yeah, when you pay that much money, you expect them to make an instant impact. Definitely. Thanks, Lahoud, for that. Really enjoyed all those tiers.
I'd put you at the top of my tier.
Oh,